in jail if I can.
Well, you remember, the Holder DOJ and Loretta Lynch. Loretta Lynch is very quiet these days because her girl did not win, and she committed some things that I think she could probably be indicted for. But I remember Loretta Lynch coming on television and making an announcement, and she said, "If you do not accept LGBT rights, we will persecute you to the fullest extent of the law." And I thought to myself, damn, I guess I'm going to be persecuted or prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law because I'm just not into that. So they totally want to ignore your religious freedom. They want to ignore your religious beliefs. As Barack said when he was running for office, these people want to hang to their Bibles and their guns. And let me say this to Barack Obama. You're damn right. We're going to hold on to our Bible and to our damn guns. And when you come, we're going to ask the Lord to help us to bury your type. I mean, this is a man who was so, I don't think, this is the honest God truth, Frank. I don't think if Barack Obama were not an elected official, he could not pass a background check, a security background check.
No, I think that's pretty accurate. Yeah.
Talib, she couldn't pass a background check. Why is the girl from Minnesota, the Somali girl? This is a woman who's committed all types of infractions, and she's still in the Congress. She married a guy, and she was already married. That's a what? Bigotry?
Bigamy charge.
Bigamy.
Yeah.
Bigamy. She's falsified immigration documents. What else has this woman done? She gave her boyfriend, now husband, $1 million in her campaign from her campaign. I mean, really? I mean, and guess what? Nothing's being done. That's why I hate these damn Republicans. McCarthy is about as influential as a warm piece of bubble gum on a warm sidewalk. The guy is totally a wuss.
You also bring up something I think that a lot of conservatives and a lot of people in the center have in the back of their minds.
And what's that?
If this election is lost, I think those prosecutions are going to be proceeding full pace. I think there's going to be a lot of issues that are going to happen to people on a different side of the political spectrum if they lose this 2020 election. I think the prosecutions that began, or the persecutions that began under the Obama administration, will come back in a measure that even makes what happened under Obama look mild.
Well, I thank God for Attorney General Barr. And the reason I thank God for Attorney General Barr is because he is a real American. He is a real man. He's knowledgeable. He's no nonsense. He's not political. He just goes where the facts take him. And I love the guy. President Trump.
And the word for that, of course, for that is professional. There used to be a time when this federal agencies, although let's face it was never perfect. There were always some political influence, but they had a degree of independence. At this point, what we've seen, particularly during the Obama administration, was that they have become extensions of whoever is in the White House. And that, of course, is a real downturn. If we look, for example, at the Environmental Protection Agency, despite the fact that people like Tom Stiers from California never was approved by Congress, never really passed any kind of muster, he was a complete civilian. Yet, in essence, he was the man who ran the Department of Environmental Protection. You see similarities like that in dictatorships like the old Soviet Union or Nazi Germany, where it wasn't the people whose name was on the front door that really ran the agencies. It was some squeaky guy in the back who was the commissar or who was the SS guy who really ran what was going on. And I think that's a pretty scary development here in the United States.
It is, but think about this. Barack Obama was a sycophant, and his mentor was Bill Ayers. His political career was hatched in Bill Ayers' living room. That's a fact. Everybody acknowledges that. Everybody says that that's a fact. Okay, they don't deny that anymore. So now let's fast forward. You have Alice Palmer, who is he took Alice Palmer's seat and left Alice out in the cold, and they can't stand the president, Alice and Lou Palmer. They're radicals, former communists, and you have Bill Ayers, who was an avowed communist. You have the Obama administration, which tried to socialize medicine, tried to destroy our whole healthcare system, tried to destroy our immigration system, and have open borders against the people's will. These people act like the American people have no say in how our country's governed. So when you have Pelosi, Schumer, and Barack Obama talking, they were doing what they wanted to do and not what we wanted them to do.
We're seeing this on both the federal, we've seen this in the federal scale during the Obama administration, and we're seeing it at the state and local level throughout the country right now, mostly in the blue states, in the Democrat-run states. Take something like New York City, where Mayor Bill de Blasio, a guy who cheered on the Soviet Union when they were putting combat troops in Nicaragua, has basically ignored his own district attorneys, his own city agencies, and has done exactly what he wants. For example, the district attorney of Bronx County, and you can't say there's any bias here, she is a black woman, has been decrying the huge increase in crime based on, or that really began when Mayor de Blasio began interfering in the way the New York City Police Department conducted its business. There has been no response from the mayor's mansion, no response whatsoever. The mayor totally ignores the professionals, the city agencies, and so forth. And most importantly, I mean, you could say those are all bureaucrats, but the people, the citizenry, have been crying to the mayor, saying that his methods in traffic and in policing and in running city agencies hasn't worked. The mayor hasn't responded at all. He's basically been completely arrogant.
But the mayor has said that police are our problem. And when we have police in these areas, it infuriates the criminals. You know what? Every politician that talks about defunding the police, I want them to get rid of their security staffs, and I want them to move into their worst neighborhoods and tell me that we don't need police.
That's exactly right. And of course, what we've been seeing across the country,
wait a minute,
simultaneous with elected officials saying defund the police,
wait a minute,
we're seeing they're voting themselves high-priced personal security details.
So here in Chicago, back in the 70s, we had a lady named Jane Byrne who became the first female mayor of Chicago. Jane Burns put on a photo op. She claimed that she moved to Cabrini Green. Took an apartment in Cabrini Green, which was a big project. They've torn it down. They put up, homes for, the yuppies and cleared out all the poor people. So torn down the project. So, but Jane Burns had a security detail that walked her to her door and stood outside her door until she came out the next morning. And in her building, the guys weren't standing in the path in the stairwells urinating and defecating. Not in her building. In other buildings around, they were. There was crime going on all around her, but not where her detail was.
New York City has similar scenes where the mayor pretends to be a subway rider, and every once in a great while he gets on the subway, and they take all the security details, put them in the background, and take a picture of the mayor being an average New York City strap hanger, despite the fact that all of the security detail is hovering around, making sure the guy is secure.
Okay, Frank, a couple of things that we need to cover here before we go. The McCluskeys down in St. Louis. The DA wants to charge these people if he hasn't already, with they want to charge them with assault and whatever to these people who broke on into their gated community. And this is the part that really pisses me off. And it pisses me off to no end because I put myself inside that gated community. These people tore down the gates and marched into private property, threatening to burn their houses down. Now, this is my point. I don't care what you think. I don't care how you feel. When you threaten me, it's not my job to determine if you're serious or not. It's not my job to determine if you're harmless or not. It is the responsibility of you not to threaten me to make me want to kill you.
Yeah,
But
that's
they have
totally great. And by the way, the governor of that state has already said that he would probably issue an immediate pardon if a prosecution does take place. So it's not going to go anyplace. But it is a political statement. And just going back to the start of our conversation at the top of the hour, we talked about how in countries like the Soviet Union or Nazi Germany, it was the mob that really ruled. It didn't matter what you did. You didn't have the right to defend yourself. You had to get permission, I guess, from the mob to protect yourself, which is totally the opposite of everything that America was founded on.
Well, we're not going to wait for these politicians. See, here in Chicago, the mayor took away our guns. Illinois was the last state to get concealed carry because of Richard Daley. I was very clear in the McDonald versus Chicago case. Mr. McDonald used to come on my show all the time. NRA, Illinois State Rifle Association, Second Amendment Foundation. And we talked about this all the time. The people, let me repeat, the people wanted concealed carry. They wanted to be able to protect their homes. These white politicians want to try to put their values on black people when black lives don't matter to them. And so I said from day one that Mayor Daley refused to protect black and brown citizens in high crime areas. Justice Alito used that same verbiage in his opinion because it's true. And you see today, black people are protecting their property. They're protecting themselves. You have these white politicians and these black politicians running around talking about, well, we can't really put these criminals back in prison because that's putting more black men. That's incarcerating more black men. Well, the statistics are black men constitute 8% of the U.S. population. They commit 36% of the homicides. They're 52% of the victims of homicide. So obviously there's an issue here. And, I get tired of white people putting their view of America on me and on black people because we live in a different existence. And if you don't stand up and fight back, you will get ran over. And believe me, they want to see these white people want to talk about Martin Luther King. That's why I'm so adamant and so visceral about Martin Luther King and his emasculation of black men. That's all he did was emasculate black people, and he didn't accomplish a damn thing. And I can document that and have documented, will document it in my new book. I mean, it's just crazy. It's just crazy, Frank.
It's important to understand the historical antecedents of the move to prevent people from protecting themselves. Let's go back to how this really began in American history. In the aftermath of the Civil War, a lot of the Southerners did not like the fact that free former slaves were banding together, were simply trying to live their lives as normal American citizens. So they formed organizations, most notably the Ku Klux Klan. The Ku Klux Klan decided to attack freed blacks simply going about their normal lives. You'd think that the government of those states and cities would say, well, that's a terrible thing, it's got to be stopped. Instead of concentrating on the KKK, what they concentrated on was the freed slaves getting weapons to protect themselves. The ordinances against gun ownership in the United States came about to prevent freed slaves from protecting themselves from the Ku Klux Klan. And that drive to prevent citizens from protecting themselves, we see today in a lot of the socialist and left-wing organizations of that same Democratic Party that pushed gun control in the South to prevent freed slaves from protecting themselves from the KKK.
But the issue is they were all Democrats, one. And two, the first uh, gun law was called the blue-gray gun law. And basically what it said was if you were not a member of the Union Army or the Confederate Army, you could not own a rifle. And so, that constituted most of the black folks, right? So that was the first restrictive gun law that was passed. Now, I find it very ironic that when the city of Chicago tried to defend its gun laws, it used a law that was used to disarm blacks in Louisiana and throughout the South. It's called the Cruikshank case. And Cruikshank basically disarmed black people throughout the South, or tried to disarm black people throughout the South. The McCluskeys, all I can say about these McCluskeys is I'm glad they defended themselves. I'm glad they defended their property. These people were not peaceful protesters. And, I don't know where these people, this black woman on TV a couple of days ago, she just sat there and just lied. These are peaceful protesters. No, they're not peaceful. And yet they broke down a gate and came into a gated community. Why are you here on my property? See, that's what I disdain about liberals. See, if a Republican is a homosexual, they go about their own business and say, hey, I'm just trying to live my life. If a Democrat is a homosexual, they want you to embrace what they do. No, it's not my business. I'm not interested in embracing you I have my whole life, Frank, as a young man, and I guess this is why I've always shied to the Republican Party and to conservatism. I get tired of white people trying to tell me what I need to think and how I need to feel and what I need to be. And I think as a whole today, you see Black America rebelling against white liberals and like Joe Biden. Joe Biden nobody's talking about this because, they don't want to really push the envelope. But there are a lot of black people who don't like Joe Biden because he's a racist. Now, he can smile and grin all he wants, but Joe Biden was against busing, talking about creating racial jungles and, working with the segregationist politicians. And, he was very proud in there. I have video of him standing up talking about Delaware is a slave state. My state's a slave state. And I'm like, dude, why are you bragging? That's what I remember about Joe Biden. I'll never forget I was in college, man. And I'm like, where in the hell did they get this guy? He's in Delaware and he may as well be in Mississippi. That's what I remember about Joe Biden.
And it really hasn't changed considerably, except, of course, that now Joe is being more tightly managed. Talk about not having the people run their own lives. When Joe Biden gets to the forefront of the political pack, he's not running his own show. It's the handlers. The eagerness to elect Joe Biden is the deep state, the people who don't believe that elections matter, saying this is our way of taking the control back that we started to lose during the Trump administration.
Well, Joe said if he is elected, Beto is going to be his gun czar, and he's going to take your guns. I'm going to take your guns. I didn't say that. Joe Biden said it.
One has to really ask, what is the platform that Joe Biden is actually running on? We know what Trump's all about. We know that he wants to get tough with China. That he wants to spark the economy. He wants to make sure that the benefits of the economy go to everyone in the country. We still don't really know what the heck Joe Biden actually stands for, except that he doesn't like Trump. And if you look at the position papers of the Democratic Party, most of it really doesn't touch on specifics. Most of it simply comes down to a bunch of charges that are unsubstantiated and unsubstantiatable. and the fact that they don't like Donald Trump. But that's not a platform. That's just your personal emotional issues.
But but they think they can get by with that, and I don't think they can. To tell you the truth, I really don't.
We will see. It's not too long from now, but you have to pretty much ignore the polls, the same polls that had, even on election day in 2016, up until the close of the electoral of the election stations, saying that Hillary Clinton won. Now they're trying to tell us, of course, this election is all over. Joe Biden has won. I think it's sheer nonsense, but we have a long time between now and election.
Well, I think the election is going to be a landslide. I don't think it's even going to be close. I think it's kind of like the silent majority. You know, all this racial stuff, the Black Lives Don't Matter. You know, you got black people out here fighting against Black Lives Don't Matter because they know it's a hoax.
If you listen to the socialists, if you listen to the left, it's not Black Lives Matter, it's not White Lives Matter, or even Police Lives Matter. It's No Lives Matter. No Lives Matter because in a hard left state, a socialist state, it's the government that matters, and that's it. The few people who monopolize power, the few folks who monopolize how to run things, they're the only ones who really matter. You don't matter at all. Your opinion doesn't matter. Your life doesn't matter. And that's the real contest that we're seeing in 2020, where the people with that kind of philosophy are going to be the ones who are running the country.
Well, they're not going to run it for long. And I think, like I said, I think Trump's going to win. And he's going to win by a landslide, thank God.
We will see. Hey, it's been great being with you. I look forward to our next discussion.
Yeah, me too, Frank. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Take care now.
All right. Bye-bye. Hey, folks, we're going to have John Connor come on. And John's going to spend a little time with us. We're going to kick it a little bit, talk about the Pulaskis and some other things. So stay tuned. Okay, we're back. And we're going to pick up where we left off and talk a little bit about the Pulaskis and defending their property. I just cannot believe that someone would want to prosecute these people for defending themselves, defending their property, defending what they do. I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of the nonsense. I'm tired of Black Lives Matter. I'm tired of people trying to tell me and us what we need to think and how we need to feel. Those days are gone. For me, they never existed. But it's time for this madness to end. It really is. And like I said, we're gonna have my boy John come on, and he's going to talk about the Democratic prosecutor that charges the Pulaskis with felonies after using guns to defend their property. And they should have used those guns to defend their property. I know I would have. What I didn't particularly care for, and what I was a little upset about, was the fact that Mrs. McCloskey was pointing her weapon at people. And she had her finger on the trigger. See, so if she'd had her gun pointed in the air at her side or down at the ground at her side and her finger off the trigger, no problem for me. But the fact that she had her finger on the trigger, I kept saying, Lord, please don't let this go off accidentally, because who knows what state she had the gun in. I tell you, you can't make this stuff up. Can't make this stuff up, folks. I don't know about you, but I am. We need to have some semblance of sanity. There were peaceful protesters. There was nothing peaceful about these people breaking in their property. Absolutely nothing. Nothing peaceful at all. So I'm waiting on John to call in. John wrote a book called Postgate, how the Washington Post betrayed Deep Throat, covered up Watergate. I'm sure that that is a winner. Let's see. Where is he now? Let's see here. John. There he is, 415. So I think I had John 415. I think I told him to call in. And let me give him a call. Yeah, here he is. Let's see here. John Connor. But we have to start paying attention. We have to take on some responsibility. We have to take on these anarchists, by the way. I keep saying that what these anarchists need is a good butt whipping. They need to be spanked. That's their problem. They had too many timeouts. They don't feel that fat meat is greasy, and it is. Let's see. Here's John. Let's see if we can get him here. Hey. Okay. Let's see. Hello. Hey, John, you need to call in. Yeah. 215 Top Talk. Top Talk. 867-8255. Okay, cool. Anyway, so we always have these glitches, these production issues that we hope to eliminate here shortly. Top Talk. Soros prosecutor goes after American heroes. Amazing. I just can't believe this. This woman standing here with her finger on the trigger. Oh man, it tickled me to death. Yeah. Hey, John, I've already introduced you. How you doing, man?
Hey, good. I got all screwed up. I got my book publisher put me in on a 12 o'clock Newsmax deal, so I think they're going to call me up sometime in there. So
yeah, good. Newsmax is
anyway,
good.
We got all.
Yeah, Newsmax is good.
Cool.
Good people. Hey, but look, on this McCluskey thing, are you in touch with these folks at all, the McCluskeys?
No, but I'm in touch with my friend who's a criminal lawyer, knows their lawyer, and is pretty well placed in the community, knows all about Kim Gardner and so forth and so on. So I've been in touch today with my sources in St. Louis. Let's put it that way.
Well, see, I don't have a problem. With Pat or Mark defending their homes and showing these people you're not the only ones with guns, because the video that I saw, this young man had 2 magazines and he was tapping them on the side of his face. So if he had 2 magazines, did he have a gun? Am I supposed to guess whether or not this man is violent? The other thing is, why were they tore down a gate and came on private property, and these people are running around talking about these are peaceful protesters. There was nothing peaceful about these protesters. Nothing.
Well, you brought up that's the key, isn't it? When they are being charged, when the McCloskeys are being charged with threatening these poor little babies, well, weren't they threatening the McCloskeys? Where's the equality of our enforcement of the laws? The McCloskeys were clearly acting defensively.
Totally.
They weren't out there for the sport of it. They
Totally.
would just as soon have their meal. They're ready to eat their meal. They weren't looking for trouble. So where I see this happening is, Charles, is I see this happening that there's no chance in hell the DA is ever going to get a conviction on this.
But why would she bring charges?
I'll tell you this:
why would she listen? Why would she bring charges? I'm not an attorney.
Publicity.
Listen, I'm not an attorney. This pisses me off to no end because these people, this is this reverse racism crap. I get tired of these damn black politicians and their stupid ass policies. They have their heads so far up Democrats' ass that they're walking out of the world asshole backwards. I get tired of it. These people are anarchists. They're dangerous, and black people are dangerous. Black men are dangerous. It is not my job to try to decide whether or not you are a good person or not. Leave me alone. I don't care about your problems. I don't care about your protests. Leave me the hell alone. You can protest, but don't think that I'm going to engage you or that I care about what the hell you're doing. I don't.
Well, let me give you one up here. If you talk to the very good, and there's a very fine black bar, that is to say black attorneys criminal defense bar in St. Louis. It's grown up. It's very mature and well respected, the defense bar in St. Louis. If you ask them, now maybe they don't want to come out and say it, how many we're going to say it publicly, but I will tell you this, my sources tell me that they're very upset with this district attorney because she's not charging the cases she should charge. And they're worried that the city's really gone to hell in a handbasket. Her conviction rate for the ones she brings is ludicrous. She's just not very good. All the good lawyers from her office have left. So this is not a black and white thing. This is a black. There are a lot of black people in St. Louis who feel that she's failing.
Let me say this. Let me say this to that, John. They need to stop hiding like little cowards, and they need to come out and do the right thing. All of this, I'm going to be with you because you're black crap, is just that. Right is right and wrong is wrong. What if good white people sided with the Ku Klux Klan? What if good white people sided with the racists and segregationists because they were white? Well, people got tired of that and said, you know what? I am standing on my convictions and with my fellow Americans. Now, why wouldn't black people stand up with the McCloskeys? They should want to defend their own. When I saw the McCloskeys, what I saw is how I would react in a similar situation. The McCloskeys could have had their home burned down if they didn't have those weapons. Those weapons were nothing but equalizers. Now, I had a problem with Mrs. McCloskey.
They were basically peace. They're peacemakers.
They're equalizers. I had a problem with Miss McCluskey having her finger on the trigger. What that showed to me was this is a person who's not trained. This is a person who doesn't understand the seriousness of the weapon that's in her hand, because you don't put your finger on the damn trigger until you get ready to pull it. And I was so scared that she was going to discharge her weapon.
Comment on that. I agree with you wholeheartedly. The only thing in her defense is she knew that the gun didn't work. It wasn't working. It wasn't operable.
Well, then why the hell would she have it?
Defense for her.
Why the hell would she have it? But practice makes perfect.
To try to keep people away from her house.
Practice makes perfect, sir. You practice like it's reality. I never put my finger on the trigger, whether my gun is loaded or unloaded, whether I'm cleaning or not cleaning, unless I intend to pull the trigger. It's all motor memory. It's all sensory and motor memory. You never touch the trigger until you get ready to shoot, period.
Well, you just put your finger, to use a pun there, you just put your finger on it right there. That's the best fact that the attorney has to say that she was threatening to use it in an unlawful manner. The fact that she had her finger on the trigger is not a good fact for the McCloskeys.
But that's
so
beside the
really
point.
Good point there.
But that's beside the point. The point is, she could do that. I mean, we're talking about safety. She didn't discharge the weapon. It didn't go off. But I was just so scared looking at her waving this gun with all of the limp wrists. I don't know what she would hit. It looked like she'd had a couple of drinks. She was flicking her wrist and flicking the gun. And I'm going, man, this chick needs some serious training. This is not a toy in her hand. But like you said, it didn't work. But who cares? Who knows? Practice makes perfect. And, the bottom line is his wife needs some gun courses. And these are two civil rights attorneys of all things. They're defending some black dude.
Right.
They're defending some black, and people are, they're racist. No, they're not racist. And I stand up to black people the same way. These black people are totally out of control. They're out of control in our neighborhoods. They think they can drive down the street and play their music loud and come up in your house and come on your lawn and take your stuff. And you're not supposed to say anything because white liberals said it's okay that the reason I don't have anything and you got, I can take what you got, and white people ain't gonna do nothing. That's how black communities are policed, and black people are tired of it. If you talk to black people, they are for funding more police in these areas. Black politicians have their head up their ass, and they follow these white politicians, and they know, but they talk about incarcerating more black. Yes, more black men need to be incarcerated without a doubt. If you're a criminal, then they talk about opportunities. Shit. But I look at my father, who had a 5th grade education, if that, moved from the South, was in the Navy, in a segregated Navy, moved to Chicago, said this is worse than the South, moved to Detroit, worked in the plant for 40 years, made a decent living. He wasn't a criminal. And thousands of black men did the same thing. These are excuses that white liberals and white sociologists have put on black folks. So crime was going down, and poverty was going down, and they couldn't deal with. The psychologist said, well, crime is up because of poverty. Well, poverty was going down, and guess what? Crime was still high. So, it just blew them out of the water. I am tired of these people in our business. If it were left up to me, you know what I would do?
Well, what?
John, I called for the National Guard to come to Chicago. I called for the National Guard to come to Chicago in 1970, in 2007. In 2008, 2009, I called for concealed carry. And I mean, we go through these neighborhoods and you take out the criminals. We know who they are. Eliminate them, not try to rehabilitate them, not educate them. They don't want anything. And these white liberals keep catering to the poorest denominator in the race, the people who don't want a damn thing, while they ignore the children who are trying to get ahead. I used to have kids come on my show who were AB students, and they always said that the resources and the attention went to the bad kids. That's because we have too many damn women in education who are bleeding hearts. I don't care about any of that. I want our children who are doing well to do better. Go ahead.
Well, what you point out so astutely is that the real victims of all of this are the black communities, the law-abiding black communities who want to have small businesses, who want their kids to go to school in peace. And what happens? We have all these protests. Businesses are looted and robbed. And then when the TV cameras leave, what do we have? We have businesses that have been looted and robbed. No banks are going to loan in the areas again. The insurance rates are going to go sky high. And who's hurt? The wealthy white people in the suburbs aren't hurt by this. It's black communities, people that are striving to get ahead in life, and they're hurt by this. The normal black person who is trying to do his or her best to improve their lives and that of their children, they're hurt by this. And this is the real tragedy of this whole thing. And nobody, of course, the cameras do not hang around to talk about the aftermath of all this stuff. They should, because that's what you're talking about. You're talking about the aftermath where everyone ends up the poor and the more damaged because of this.
Well, see, the average black person is not out there looting and robbing and running in these stores. These are hooligans. These are criminals.
Exactly.
So they're not representative of the community. And when you have a mayor like Stalin Lightfoot, I call her. We're not going to antagonize the criminals. I mean, who is this person? Black people have not been protected in this city ever. In most black communities, black people are not protected. And I say that we need to bring in real police, or we need to bring in real paramilitary organizations and clean these neighborhoods up. Because this is how it works. A police officer, and I'm not saying all of them, but if I'm a police officer and I say, okay, dude, you give me $500 a week, you give me $500 a week, you give me $200 a week, you give me $100 a week. That's how these cops are rolling, man. They know who's dealing drugs. They know where the drug dens are. We just had a drug den destroyed a couple of days ago. They know where the people are doing drugs. They open air. They call them open market drug deals. We had 2 Hispanic cops that were going in robbing drug dealers and taking their money and their drugs and redistributing them. I mean, these are cops. This happens all the time. It's not like Serpico and some of these other cop corruption movies are lying. These cops are damn corrupt.
Well, they see that the drug trade is just an opportunity for them to cash in on sort of a protection. It's almost a protection racket. It's like a legal mafia type of deal where you say, okay, I'm going to let you operate legally. And of course, that's the way the mafia got strong, was because of prohibition. So they're doing the same thing now with these drug guys. So that's what's terrible. Once again, the victims are the
black communities. And I often say that there is no way that when you go on the north side of Chicago, you don't see people riding around with their music blasting and smoke coming out. You don't see that. Because why? Because the cops don't tolerate it. On the south side, They let these people run around like animals. And I'm tired of it. Black people are tired of it. And they're tired of these black politicians. That's why they always try to get me to run for office, because they know that I am not playing with black criminals. Black criminals are black criminals. I don't put them on a pedestal. Here in Chicago, you had black gang members who were put on a pedestal, like they were serving in the Marine Corps or the Army. Oh, they're in the Blackstone Rangers. Oh, they're in the Peace Stone Nation. They need to be eliminated and eradicated from society is what they need.
Well, the problem is, if a good stand-up guy like you runs, the first thing that will happen from certain, not everyone, but certain of the so-called black leaders, is they'll try to delegitimize you as not standing up for the black community. That's exactly what you would be doing.
But that didn't work. You have to understand that happened.
Yep.
John, that happened here in Chicago. That didn't work. Because I see these people on Fox. I see these people. I used to be on Fox all the time. The bottom line is, I'm an articulate, intelligent black man who understands what needs to happen. I don't stand for wrong. I will never stand for the craziness that's being perpetrated as being black, so-called black. Jesse Jackson and Father Flagler called me the most divisive man in Chicago, tried to get me fired off this radio gig I had. It didn't work because the people love me. Why did the people love me? Because I was telling the truth. I was saying exactly what they wanted. When Jesse Jackson was protesting the cops in the Robert Taylor projects, arresting black men who were selling drugs and defecating and peeing, urinating in the stairwells, and he was on the radio and TV. They're using Gestapo. You know what the women called my station and said? They need to send more.
Right.
They need to send more.
That's right.
Jesse's on TV, but see,
they want to be protected.
But see, white people, the white media, the white power structure supports this nonsense so that black people will never have a voice in America. They can never pursue the American dream because they're always looking at the end of the lowest denominator of the race. They're always looking at
what happens.
They're always looking at poor and ignorant people. The civil rights movement was not about poor ass, ignorant ass people. The civil rights movement was about educated black men and women who were trying to attain the American dream and being denied access to homes, being denied access to jobs, being denied access to pursuing the American dream. Poor ass whites and blacks never want to pursue those things, but the focus is gone. Oh, well, we need to help the poor people. That's why I have no use for Martin Luther King. Absolutely none. He emasculated Black America. And when you emasculate a group of people, you leave them vulnerable. So everybody comes back.
When Black America's been hurt after the civil rights movement.
Yeah. And?
Yeah, so I think you're right, because what's happened is, in subtle ways, the black man has been emasculated by government programs, by people that are, I think many of them are well-meaning.
They're not well-meaning at all.
Is, I think people get their power from that. If you get power from acting like, you're the great white giver of goods to the poor black people, then it gives you power. And rather than empowering black people, it's about empowering the people that are in control.
How does a person like Al Sharpton get a 5-day show on a major network and he can't read a teleprompter? This is a man who is dumb beyond dumb. He's dumb beyond dumb. This is a man who never says this or that. He said this and that, this and that, This is a man without letters.
Charles, I got a hard stop here in about a minute, so I've got to, I better finish.
Wrap it up here. Wrap it up.
This other thing scheduled. So, but keep doing the stuff you're doing, because you're fearless. That's what you are. What's fun about listening to you is you're fearless. You say what you mean, and you mean what you say. And you don't find that much in the media these days. You get a lot of palaver out there. So thank you so much for being what you are.
And thank you, John, for publishing what you publish and for doing what you do. I would love to get that information, though, and contact the McCluskeys, because I want to be in their corner.
Yeah, I will. Actually, you and I should circle back, because I do have the contacts, and I think there's an awful lot of support on their side from all different directions here on this one. This DA is not the most popular person, and most people out there realize that she's probably one of the most incompetent people that's come along in a long time. So hopefully this maybe it'll make people see what they've got as an elected representative there. So too bad. Well, hey, Charles,
hey,
thank
good luck.
You so much.
Good luck on Newsmax.
Keep fighting the good fight, buddy.
Will do. Thank you.
Okay.
Take care. All right. Bye-bye. That's John Connors, folks. And John wrote a book called Postgate. And Postgate is about how the Washington Post betrayed their reporters. It's really interesting book. We're coming up here towards the end of the show, and I was looking at a clip with Joe Biden. They have to keep Joe locked up, because when Joe gets out there on his own, as Trump said, he doesn't even know what day it is. He doesn't even know what day it is. Republicans, though, have stood up for the McCluskeys, and I thank God for that. And they sent a letter to Attorney General Barr urging him to act against the district attorney over there, Gardner. And 12 Republican members of the House have stood up, and they're very clear that we need to get, some action from the Attorney General. So, we will. Hey, well, look, we're coming up on the end of the show, and I want to thank you all for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the show today. It's been a whirlwind, and we'll be back tomorrow. Going to have a couple of interesting guests, and keep it going. That's what we do here at the Reality Check. So, see ya soon. Okay, take care. Time after time after time, people in the bottom. There's people living in the bottom. Listen to me. See that sister, her shop was fine. She's buying a drink and wine from the bottom. She told me